Okay, hey, what's up, everybody? Should be,
I'll be there. Yeah.
let's get a couple things set up. Welcome, welcome. We are here for our final table of our tournament that we just had recently. Let's already jumping into it already. Let's get into it. A couple faces we haven't seen here at this final table. Sean here, pocket twos. It's gonna limp in under the gun. Pocket threes for Kenny. He is going to limp in here.
21,000.
Tim now pocket eights. Wow, 3 pocket pairs.
Yeah.
3 first players to act in this hand. Tim's going to bump it up to 21K. Wow, everybody's going to fold here. Is Kenny going to make the call here? He folds. Kenny's going to fold as well. Tim's going to pick up that pot. Blinds are 1.5K and 3K with a 3K big blind ante.
Too bad. Oh yeah, 5,000.
Just probably one of the lowest blinds I think we might have seen on the on this final table. It's been a while. I don't think we've had these this blinds this low. Usually we're up around the 2,000, 4,000 mark. So it's nice to see. Hopefully this brings out a lot of play at this final table. Let's take a look at the chip stacks here. Jimmy first place 183K. Frank is 114, and we got Bernie at our lowest stack of the table 33K. Still. Definitely some short stacks at the final table, but also some decent sized stacks. But anything can happen. I mean, they're still hovering around the 10 big blind mark, but they're going to need to make something happen here very soon.
They're too soft, period. Because they got rid of their Dolphins. They got rid of their defensive coordinator. It was hard on them.
3,000 and big blind ante can definitely be pricey as a full ante. The antes usually get cut in half once we get to 6-handed, but for the start of the final table, usually it is a bit punishing, especially to some of the short stacks. I think Jamie in the small blind is going to bump it up to 8K. To Sean has about 105K in his stack. He's going to make the call here with the 10-3. He's going to defend his big blind. He does have position over Jamie. See what happens on this flop. There's a king on the flop. A little bit of a scary card for Jamie, though, with that ace on the board. Sean completely missed. Jamie's going to continuation bet. Throws out a bet of 11K, and he's going to win that pot.
We're not brothers.
What?
Hand was finished, so we're saying this shared around here.
They just got similar hats.
We're not brothers.
Sharing into a couple of local groups here on Facebook.
We're staying on this line for 153.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. Tell me to the line.
Probably hear my typing
was done, so.
Reggie great guy,
my
man.
mechanical keyboard.
Tell me a lot about reffing, actually.
15 and 3 is lines.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Rich Coffee.
That's what
Looks like my chat is not it's not popping up here. I'm gonna have to
I would have been
reload that doc, see who can, so I can see who is actually in the chat. Let me know who is watching. We added another angle on this
15 and 3 still for this hand.
on these tables. We're gonna try to get a better look at some of these players. We're gonna try to work at making these angles a little bit better.
Come on, Kenny. You got me all confused.
Tim's gonna limp in here with the ace 10 for 3K.
Every time I don't get confused, it's on the ball field.
Where did I like your glasses? Well, I forgot my glasses.
Yeah.
I had my sunglasses in the car.
Okay. So that's what I gotta wear.
So that's the story.
Like everybody, got a couple limpers. All these, the blinds are involved in this as well as the cutoff and the button.
9,000.
Pretty interesting flop.
It happened when I went to
Tim ends up hitting the top pair with the ace, and the ace 10 kicker also has a little bit of a gut shot with a queen. Kenny is on a queen high flush draw. Jamie is on an 8 high flush draw.
You people say what's going on here.
Gonna get checked around to Tim, who's gonna fire at a 9,000 bets. Jamie calls, as does Kenny. See what develops here on the turn. 48K in the middle. Ooh, the 10 comes down. That's an interesting card. Kenny ends up hitting his straight. Tim ends up hitting 2-pair on the turn.
I might take him off at break.
Kenny ends up shoving all in here for 41K. Pot's already big enough for him. He says he just wants to win this pot, get the flush draws out.
Pain in the ass.
He's also on the flush draw, I guess. I guess he wouldn't really care too much about that. Sides, it's pretty much a double up already, or more than a double up with the money that's in the middle. Can't really blame him here for shoving it all in. Tim looks like he's in a really tough spot here with the ace-10. 4-card straight on the board. Was a multi-way pot. It's one of those things where, a situation where a bet pre-flop might have been able to get some of these hands out of the way. Just shows the issues with limping in certain circumstances. Unfortunately, Tim's in a tough spot here.
Jay, what do you got left behind over there?
What do you do?
Tim's interested to see how much Jamie has left. Doesn't want Jamie to reshove behind.
I won't be able to tell him not on the screen, not until it gets to your turn.
You gotta move. Something's gonna move.
Tim definitely giving it some thought. And he folds. Tim makes a great fold here. Kenny ends up having the straight. He shows the 2-pair. Absolutely not happy there with the ace-10 having to fold there. Seen that a 5 of clubs came down on the river, so it wouldn't have changed anything. Kenny would have ended up picking up that pot either way with that straight.
I had a flush draw. Big flush draw. That's what I mean.
Well, we got ourselves a great stream tonight. I see Sean just jumped into the chat, rooting for Kenny. You should be rooting for yourself, Sean. Rooting for yourself. You're at the final table. It's, you know, we've got a pretty interesting stream as the blinds are a little bit lower, so we should be able to see a bit more play than what we usually do. So it should be pretty interesting. We got a couple new camera angles, as you guys can see. Let me know what you guys think about that. How you know, maybe how the angles are working out.
Bernie's action.
Alex jumping in the chat from Facebook. Final table with normal blinds, eh? We had 14 players for this tournament. Blinds have actually just gone up, though. Blinds are now at 2,000, 4,000 with a 4,000 big blind ante. It's getting folded around to the small blind. Kenny, he's going to limp in with the ham sandwich, the 3-2. Tim in the big blind. He's just going to call as well.
The 3 of us are the ones making noise.
Everybody's taking it so serious.
I know.
Why?
Friday night?
This one doesn't make too much noise. This one people don't. My wife doesn't.
Ace-5 for Tim.
She watched me play.
Kenny fires out a bet with the 3-2. With a bluff, we see a 2 would have came down on the turn. Poor Tim getting into some tough spots. Down to 20 big blinds at 79K. He's about middle of the pack, which is really pretty and not a half bad spot considering everybody else's position.
I just do it between hands as I'm dealing. I can be like, oh wow, look what came down. You know.
See, the volume's a little bit loud. I'm actually going to turn that down a little bit.
I've tried a few times.
So it's just I gotta keep during this dead time. I need to be talking.
There we go.
Boring people.
Hopefully that's a little bit better for everybody.
More for me than anything.
When I get to be doing it.
8 viewers over on YouTube, 7 over on Facebook so far. We got 1 over on Twitch. Thank you guys for tuning in. So glad all of you guys can be here for this final table tournament.
I usually tell
Should be a pretty interesting one. Jimmy here, pocket 8s under the gun. Said blinds are 2,000, 4,000. It's gonna bump it up to 13K. Dan with the king queen off. Dan, very short stack at the table. It only has 25K left in his stack after making that call.
Here's Kenny.
Ace-4 suited for Kenny. He's going to tag along. Tim's going to get out of the way, as is Bernie. So the blinds are out of the pot. Now we're 3 ways going to this flop. Let's see what happens here. Actually a good flop for Dan, hitting open-ended with 2 overcards. Jimmy, pocket 8s, not really that great of a flop. You know, either of these players could be playing a jack or 10 here within their range. Dan's going to shove his last 25K in the middle, and it gets through. Wow, what a massive pot for Dan to pick up, considering he only had about, what, less than 50K in the starting this hand. Now Dan's actually kind of moved up. Now he's up to 19 big blinds at 74K, essentially getting a double up there with that hand. Great spot for Dan to pick up some chips. The king-queen with the 2 overcards and an open-ended. Neither of those, Kenny or Jimmy, ended up really hitting that flop.
What are you doing?
It's a tough spot for Jimmy, especially with the pocket 8s with two overcards like a jack and a 10. There's a lot of big draws. You know, you're essentially, you know, a coin flip at best in that spot. And Jimmy recognized that and just kind of decided to save his chips for a better situation. Speaking of pocket pairs, we got pocket 6s here with Attilla. He is going to limp in with the pocket 6s. Ace 7 suited for Dan. He picked up some more chips.
What?
Dan is going to bump it up to 16K with the ace 7 suited. Pocket 9s for Kenny. Wow, the pocket pairs are really making their rounds on this table. Ace jack for Bernie. He's a very short stacked at this table, 20K. I think he just has to put it in here with the ace jack. Fortunately, you're so short. Blinds are 2,000, 4,000. Only have 20K behind. Essentially 5 big blinds. And he does. Bernie puts it all in here, 22K. See what Attilla wants to do, limping in. Think about limping in here in these spots. You need to be aware of the stacks that are behind you.
Come out of this stack.
16, 23.
Attilla ended up folding.
It needs to be a full bet for it to be. Yeah, from what you. So no, we cannot. So maybe 16. So you made it what, 12 more. So it would have.
Trying to decide here whether or not Dan can actually reopen the action. We ended up kind of determining later that he was not able to reopen the action because of the size of his bet. It was a really close one, but Dan ended up, we ended up giving Dan the option to shove here. It was a little bit of a mistake, and the wrong call. The ruling was right in the sense of, you know, he needed to have a full bet to reopen the action, but we didn't take into account Bernie and his blinds with the 25K, so Bernie technically needed like a few thousand more for it to actually technically reopen the action, which is unfortunate for Kenny. Kenny ended up having to throw away the 9s here, but we'll see what happens here. We got our all-in situation. Bernie's tournament life is at risk. Ace 7 of clubs versus ace jack. There's the ace. Poor Kenny wouldn't have won anyway. But 2 pair for Bernie. Jack kicker. Bernie is actually going to double up there, and probably more than double up. I mean, it was pretty much almost an 80K pot that he picked up there. Essentially a triple up. Great spot for Bernie. Now actually kind of moving him up the list. He's now 20 big blinds, 78K. Really going from shortest stack to pretty much right above average. You guys can probably hear Kiwi squawking in the background.
It's actually, it's not. It has to be half as a.
It's kind of bugging me. I didn't want her to be freaking out on camera.
24.
Her does not like live streaming.
That's where it is. Yes.
Anyways, you know,
That's right.
You gonna hang out with this? No?
Yeah, you should have.
Stop squawking, please. Stop squawking.
Try to be as correct as I can. So.
Here we go. Let's move into the next hand. Dan here, Queen 10.
All in for 46.
Richard decides to shove it all in here. Pocket 7s 46.5K all in.
All in for 73,000.
Kenny shoves all in here. He's got ace king. Bernie folds the pocket twos. Blinds get out of the way. We got ourselves another coin flip situation here.
All ends.
Same race as
Kenny
yours.
ace king versus pocket sevens.
You made the right move until.
See what happens here. Oh, there's a king on the flop. Richard is only running to 1-7. Apparently 1-7 was folded. And that is going to be it. Richard is actually our first elimination at this final table, placing 10th place. Kenny getting a nice little double up in that pot. That's our first player eliminated here on the final table. Unfortunate. You got to win your coin flips to continue in these tournaments. But the pocket sevens just do not hold up. As 7 was folded, he was only running to 1 out, you know, after Kenny hitting that king. Very unfortunate. Can't win them all. Good luck to Richard in his future poker endeavors.
Was that?
I finally stopped coughing.
We are moving into hand number 8.
I know, but
Blinds are still 2,000, 4,000. 4,000, big blind ante. King Queen suited for Sean. He's limping in here with the King Queen suited.
yeah,
A lot of limping happening. Usually hands like this you want to actually throw out a bet.
I don't see you when, over it.
He decides to limp in, letting the blinds into the pot for free. Now he's facing Attila in the big blind with the 7-2, giving Attila a chance to win this pot. Not going to look good now there. And a king actually comes down on that flop. Attila here with 7-2. Simple bet.
4,000.
Little $4,000 bet from Sean. Attila shows the 7-2. Looks like Sean is going to pick up that pot with the King Queen anyway. Oh, let's take a look at the chip stacks here. I want to see this. Jimmy, 160K. Kenny is 130 now. Attila's the shortest stack with 40.5K. And Dan, second shortest stack at the table with just under 50,000. Who is going to be our next elimination at this final table? These players are battling it out for a first place prize of $750. We ended up paying top 3 for this. Third place ended up getting 340 and 150 for third.
But you could smoke on the stairs, you can see there was no cameras. There's no cameras on the stairs.
It's gonna get folded. Folded around to Bernie with the 7-5.
What color is it? I'm on the street, so it's not me.
I'm on the street.
Looks like someone has parked in the driveway, just looking to move some of their cars. This is a home game after all, right?
You don't have a
Trying not to
Toyota,
plug
do
up
you?
the street.
You don't have a Toyota, do you?
No, my car's in the garage.
No, I just wanted to make you wait for
See, most of the players are sitting above or hovering around that 20 big blind mark. So really, it's anybody's tournament at this point. Even Jimmy here with a 160,000 stack. Still, anything can happen. Anybody can take a chunk out of him, and he'll be one of the short stacks at the table.
I'm the first one. I'm almost in the garage. So. Scared of Jimmy. I want to make sure I park as far as I can.
Rather Jimmy.
Fuck, it was last Friday.
no, you don't want to miss a hand.
You won't miss a hand.
Looks like Bernie is going to have to go and move his car. I think we're going to take this time, I believe, right after this hand. We're going to chip up some of the 500 chips that are on the table, which are the blue chips that you guys see. Chip up some of those chips quickly, and and get a little break. I cut that out of the video just so you guys didn't have to see it. Right? No need to waste your time with doing chip ups.
To me, you should, if you,
It has a
Might be
better
after
spot
this hand.
now,
If not,
Dan ends up picking up a nice little pot here with the ace-9. Jamie ends up folding his big blind to him.
Me neither.
It's a good time, it's a good time to learn.
The last time I tried to try the parents always had automatics. I let them start driving when I was down there in Steady-Eyed Bridge on the.
I don't know how to pronounce her name. Someone rooting for Sean in the chat over on YouTube. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. But we got ourselves a fan of Sean. He's in the big blind for this hand. Action is to Kenny under the gun with ace-8 off.
Call.
You can't apparently change cards.
Nope.
You have another deck here.
Dan's going to limp in here with the king-queen. Jamie shoving all in here at 9-8 offsuit in the small blind. He's looking to pick up all of this dead money, all these limpers, punishing those limpers. You know what I always say. Punishing those people limping in. Everybody folds.
This is your hand.
I can, I don't mind.
What did he crush you with last week?
I'll pause the blind.
There we go. We're going to pause the blinds, but we're going to
Yeah,
we'll move right into the action here. You guys are going to see it. The blue chips will be chipped up. But what a great play by Jamie, right? Recognizing all those limpers jumping into that pot, punishing those limpers. That's what I like to see.
He just saw you were good enough to play.
Bernie's hands not reading it. Okay.
Here we go. The 500 chips have been chipped up. Action is down to Frank here. 104K in his stack. Ace Jack firing out 12,000.
Or 12,000, sorry. Why I announced. Thank you.
It's looking like Frank is going to pick up that pot. He's third place in chips, 114K. Oh, and we just heard that sound in the background. That means the blinds will be going up the next hand. Not this hand, but the next hand after. Should be interesting. These short stacks are getting dwindling away with these increasing blinds. The joys of tournament poker. Bernie with a fun hand here, 6-5 suited. Fortunately, probably doesn't have the chips behind to really be playing hands like that under the gun. But Jimmy, on the other hand, pocket tens. Big stack at the table, bumping it up to 15K. Gonna get folded around here to Sean on the button, who lets it go. Kenny's gonna fold as well. Tim with the 4-2, he folds. Jimmy shows the pocket tens. Everybody's showing their cards tonight.
This one pair is all in.
Everyone's trying to establish their image on the table. I'm not sure about that. I never like to show my cards. I always like them guessing. Am I bluffing or am I not? Sometimes people just like picking up the blinds with that and not being put into some really tough spots with their hands like pocket tens. Everybody has their own style of play. Always a wide variety of player types and stuff that show up to these home games, which is always nice to see. Nice variety of players types on the final table. Now Jimmy is under the gun here with a 9-6 suited. Little two-gapper. Gonna get folded around to Attila.
All in 55.
All in for Dan. Ace Jack, 55K. Blinds are 3,000, 6,000. Dan is under 10 big blinds. Sean here with the pocket tens. Looks like he's being quite hesitant here with his decision. He throws it away. Wow, Sean folds the pocket tens in the cutoff to Dan's all in. It's a bit shocking. That's not something I expected. Bernie calls. He just wants one more round. Dan's going to end up picking up those blinds. It's nice, picking up 15K just in blinds and antes. Dan's gonna move up to 12 big blinds now. Attila's the shortest stack at the table, 6.4 big blinds. Would actually be 39K that Attila has behind. Some of the chip stacks were not updated correctly once we did the chip up, but those will be updated very soon. A little 500 difference isn't going to make much of a difference in people's decisions anyway. So move into the next hand. Whoa, what is going on here? Oof, that was weird. We have Jack 8 suited for Frank. It's going to fold. Attila folds the King 5. 8-7 for Dan. He folds. 10-7 suited for Kenny in the cutoff. It's going to limp in for 6,000. Bernie all in, ace jack off suit.
66,000.
Looks like his patience paid off. Jimmy with the pocket fours. Does he want to call Bernie here? No, he folds the pocket fours. Kenny folds the 10-7. Wow, everybody making some interesting folds here. Looks like Jimmy might have been a little bit worried with the player limping in behind in the cutoff. Bernie's probably happy either way, picking up some of those chips. Always nice to be able to win the pot and increase your chip stack uncontested.
That's right. There's a big difference for sure. Yes.
Bernie's now on the button.
Ever. Big difference for sure. I don't even think I would.
If it was, I'm not saying it was.
If it was saying what I was thinking. But it wouldn't matter anyway. There's no race. I'm calling a pocket pair of fucking fours.
Pocket threes for Attila. Short stack at the table. He decides to fold. Around 5 big blinds or so. Folding the pocket threes. Figured that would be a situation to just shove it in. Tim shoving it in here with the king queen off on the cutoff. I like this bet from Tim. Putting maximum pressure on those blinds. Instead, you're picking up 15,000 in chips for just the blinds. Everybody's going to fold. Tim picking up those chips. Very nice. Again, you want to be aggressive with the blinds and antes so high and some short stacks at the table. You want to be putting pressure on those short stacks, not letting them see any kind of free flops and make them pretty much be put into a decision for their tournament life. That's the joys of no limit hold'em, ladies and gentlemen. That's what Doyle Brunson always said. No limit hold'em is the Cadillac of poker. Nothing like putting your opponent to the test. Ace 3 off for Sean. It's going to limp in. Ace Jack for Frank. 99K. He's got a little bit more chips than Sean does in this spot. But he's just going to call with the Ace Jack in the small blind. Letting Attila, short stack at the table, get into a free pot. The Queen 9 on the big blind. 275.
Check. All in 26.5? Or shoot, I didn't update them. Stacks. 27,000.
Attila shoving all in here as a bluff. He's assuming that that flop probably didn't hit anybody. If you think about it, it's actually a great flop dynamic for Attila and his hand range, it being in the big blind. Him shoving all in here to try to pick up those chips is almost essentially a double up for him. Now Frank is put into a decision with the Ace Jack if he wants to see 2 more cards. He must be thinking that he is behind here with the Ace Jack, as he only does have Ace High. But we can see he is actually ahead. Frank folds. Attilla picking up that pot. Seeing a queen and a king would have came down on the river, so Attilla would have actually hit his queen on the turn. He would have ended up winning that pot anyway. But Attilla slowly building up his chip stack. He's now up to 8.5 big blinds with 51,000 in chips. Still in pretty rough shape, but gained a little bit more chips to be able to put a little bit more pressure on his opponents if he chooses so. But thank you guys all for joining me tonight for the rebuy and add-on tournament. This is always a fun home game tournament that we usually run here at the all-out poker basement.
Oh, yeah. I was like, wow, Frank, there's his reading.
Move into the next hand. Hand number 18. Pocket twos for Bernie. He's gonna fold.
Tag, you're in.
All in 51,000.
Attilla shoving all in here. Ace-6 suited. I think this is a great play from Attilla from the small blind to the big blind. Again, picking up some of those blinds. Only 3,000 of those chips were his, but he's picking up 12K just from Dan. Attilla, look at this. He's actually moved into the second last place. Dan is now actually the shortest stack of the table with 58,000 under 10 big blinds. Now Attilla has just bumped up himself to 11 big blinds. Both players still not in great shape, but they can certainly have some chips here to make something happen. Just a nice little hot run of cards. Anything can happen at the poker table. I've seen some pretty crazy things with people coming back with just one chip in a chair, barely can't even pay the ante, and coming back to win a tournament. So you never know what can happen. Sean here with the 4-3 suited, folding under the gun. Kenny right beside him with the ace-jack. He's grabbing some chips. Looks like he's gonna fire out a bet here. 26K bet. Fairly large bet, almost 5 times the blind. Jimmy folding the pocket nines. Ace queen for Frank. Wow, he's got Kenny crushed here with the ace queen. Here's now Frank is going to 3-bet here. Might be able to see the money get in.
60, 70 behind.
Frank, give it some thought. Looks like he's a little bit suspicious of, maybe it's the size of Kenny's bet that he is a little bit worried about, but the ace queen.
Yeah, tournament, yeah.
Just bring them
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so you don't even know.
Looks like he just wants to put it in, but just can't pull the trigger. And he folds. Wow! Frank ends up folding the ace queen to Kenny.
That's one thing I was hoping to see. Oh, it's still in the hand there.
Wow! What a fold.
Four diamonds.
You wanted to call me, Frank, so bad.
I don't think I should have. I don't think I was supposed to fold there, but
Wow, Kenny is going to end up picking up those blinds.
all in there.
They're talking about that situation. Frank saying that he probably shouldn't have folded there.
Yeah, I think he only just goes to big.
I don't know. That's,
So it's, and it sucks.
you know,
because, like, I really want
looking
to
at the
do
chip
it,
stacks and stuff.
but, like,
I mean, we're only paying top 3, so we're not that close to the money. Fortunately, I mean, not to be results oriented or anything either. You know, Frank with the ace queen, I feel like he kind of just had to 3-bet there, or just put it all in that sense. Like, you're picking up the blinds and you're essentially almost doubling your, or at least getting half of the chips, like half of your stack with a shove there. So I think sometimes you just got to chance it. It is a final table after all. You know, your chips are very important. You have to be very aware of how much chips you have.
19 too much.
To try to find spots to be able to pick up chips. Like Tim here with the pocket sevens, bumping it up, winning those blinds, picking up 15,000 in chips. Look at our VPIPs. VPIPs don't really matter. We don't have like a very, we don't have very many hands to be showing the VPIPs here. But Kenny, 45%, like 45% of the hands, top spot on the final table. Kenny playing probably some of the most hands. I think I would agree with that. I think we've seen Kenny into most of the hands. He's been getting into some interesting spots. He had one with Dan with the pocket nines, which we see he would have ended up losing that had he kind of continued anyway, with the ace coming down on the turn.
Hard to tell now who's a
There's
pro.
lots of pros who don't know their name.
Kenny had the ace jack versus Frank's ace queen.
Bad cards are easy to fold. Continue positive.
All in 55,000.
Dan shoving all in here, under 10 big blinds, ace 2 suited. Sean folding the ace 6 suited, queen jack for Kenny. Nice suited hand. Kenny want to chance it.
It's a hand I got into a lot of trouble with a lot of time.
Fortunately, you get to a spot here where you're up against some of the short stacks at the table. If you look at the percentages, technically Dan should be ahead in the percentages here, but these are real-time percentages. It takes into account of folded cards that the players have thrown in the middle. So we already seen that Sean actually folded an ace, so that's going to be reducing Dan's percentages a little bit, because it's some of the cards that he might need. As I said, these are real-time percentages. They're not poker calculator percentages. But Kenny does make the call. We do have an all-in situation here. Ace-2 suited versus King-Queen, or sorry, Queen-Jack suited of hearts. Let's move into this flop. There's a jack on the flop with 2 spades. Dan has also hit a bottom pair. Wow. A lot of outs for Dan here. But he cannot get it on the river. Too many out syndrome. Dan ends up becoming our next elimination, getting 9th place. Kenny becomes the biggest stack at the table now. 183K chips in his stack. Dan, unfortunately, not much you can do about there. That is poker, ladies and gentlemen. Got it in good with the ace-2 suited. It probably would have went in on the flop anyway, right? You know, that's kind of the way to look at it. You know, Kenny would have ended up hitting the top pair with the jack. It was a phenomenal flop for Dan as well, hitting the bottom pair with the spade draw. The nut spade draw, may I mention, with the ace as well. As an overcard, tons of outs. Just couldn't make it happen.
And it's one connection.
Oh
one
man,
straw, and
that's
Toronto.
perfect, man. That's yeah.
380. It says he returned.
All in here for Jamie.
Luck all in.
Queen 10. Under 10 big blinds. 59K in his stack.
It's gonna be hot September 27th.
One card I was snapping.
It's gonna be 45 degrees.
Tim ends up folding. Jamie shows a queen. He's going to pick up that pot. Remember, picking up 15,000.
Your hoodie on, I was watching your
Definitely a nice
like a pro.
amount of chips to pick up to add to your stack.
Okay.
Jamie sitting 12 big blinds. Sean 13 big blinds. Everybody's pretty much a big blind
The Park MGM, but
Yeah.
between each other.
the Aria cheaper than the Park MGM.
Oh wow.
Which is ridiculous.
That is ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah. She gets 3 nights and I get 3 nights, so
Right.
we end up paying for like 3 nights.
Oh nice, nice. Okay.
But resort fee for
Talking about how some of the flights are pretty cheap
All right, buddy. Take care.
Dan, thanks for coming.
going to Vegas.
Play another week, I'll play again.
Awesome, buddy. See you later.
Ace-2 suited for Kenny.
That is 21.
Yeah, we'll want some input on that. On that hand he just folded.
Pocket nines for Tim.
No,
The other one?
the other one, yeah.
81K. from the small blind. That dealer position could be trying to steal the blinds here with quite a wide range of cards.
Like I said, I wouldn't call. Either fold.
I think this is a shove or fold situation for Tim. Although I think it's probably more of an opportunity, I think, for him to shove and pick up some chips. 36K in the middle. Tim folds the pocket nines. Wow, what a fold from Tim. Giving Kenny the respect. Kenny is just picking up the chips, bullying this table here with the big stack at the table. 195K for Kenny. He's got 24% of the chips on the table, but anything can change. Everybody is still sitting around that 60,000 and 70,000 chip mark. So anything can happen, ladies and gentlemen. People are still well into this tournament. Let me know who you guys are rooting for in the chat. Love to see who's watching here in the chat. We got 8 viewers over on YouTube. Big shout out to everybody over on YouTube. Welcome. And everybody over on Facebook, 9 people watching from Facebook. Always got the, can't forget about Twitch. 1 person over on Twitch. Welcome, welcome. Sean's going to shove all in here. Ace Jack suited, 76K. Bernie's all in as well. He has Ace Jack. Looks like it's probably going to end up being a chop pot between the two. Jimmy in a spot here with the King Queen. Does he want to risk it? 80,000. So 2/3 of his stack.
I didn't know what you were gonna do. You didn't say. You didn't say. That's fine.
You're on the way again.
Jimmy's going to fold.
All right, let's flip them.
Good luck, guys. Ace.
Flip the cards.
Go ahead.
Big hand.
Ace Jack versus Ace Jack. Pretty much probably going to be a split here unless one can end up hitting. Oh, there's a diamond draw for Sean. Oh, there's the diamond on the turn. Sean is actually going to eliminate Bernie with that flush. Bernie getting 8th place, becoming our next player eliminated. Ooh, there was a lot of chop abilities there. Chop, what do they call it? Chop possibilities. Sean ends up getting that diamond draw on the turn, putting him in a great spot here at this final table now. See, Glazing has just joined the chat. How does Regis do this so consistently? He just seems to dominate all of these tournaments. We see him in the... We need to see him in the cash games. I think, I believe Kenny just enjoys the... just enjoys the tournament play of poker.
Yeah, feel free.
He told me personally that he doesn't enjoy cash as much, but he is clearly doing well in tournaments. This is what, 3rd final table I think we've seen him on. He's doing very well. And Guy in the chat says that's dirty. Yes, it is a dirty way to lose. Unfortunate for Bernie. Just shows the power of a suited hand.
22.
Very lucky for Sean. There was a very high chance for a chop possibility. Looks like Kenny bullying the table again here with the A7. Got our pre-flop betting here. Kenny 24%. Everyone else is hovering around the 12 and are under 10%. They're going to need to start betting a little bit more. Remember, those blinds and antes are quite high. The blinds have actually just gone up as well. They are now 4,000, 8,000 with a well, actually with an 8,000 big blind ante because we're not 6-handed yet. As I said, that's quite a bit of chips. Quite a bit of chips. That's what now up to 20. Would it be 20,000? Yes, 20,000 chips in the middle just to pick up. People are sitting around 80K in chips. They're sitting around that 10 big blind mark now. They got to be picking up these chips. There's a lot in the middle for the blinds and antes. Let's see who is going to ramp it up a little bit here. Jamie's going to fold the Jack 2 under the gun. Sean, 10-7 suited. He's going to let it go. He's got 160K in his stack. Kenny's going to fold the 8-4 suited. Tim here with the King Jack.
23,000.
23? Yeah.
Firing out 23,000 here.
I like yours better than mine.
Fold. Yeah.
It's looking like everybody is going to fold again. Look, that's 20,000 Tim managed to pick up there with a bet.
23, you mean you have
Just showing the power of the aggression at these tables. For this, Tim's actually moved move himself up here. 13 big blinds, 101K, picking up 20K in chips just from that one hand. Remember how important it is. Sam in the chat says, let's go, Sean. Sam is cheering for Sean, ladies and gentlemen, after picking up those chips from Bernie with that ace-jack suited.
That dealer is not changing a card.
Sean putting himself in great shape into this tournament.
Jimmy's getting bored. We're in trouble.
Speaking of that, Sean is action here with the 10-6 suited. He's going to fold under the gun. Ace-10 for Tim.
It was 23 last.
Tim, again, picking up 20,000 in chips. Now he's up to 121K in his stack. What I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, that he's already picked up 40K in chips. If you think about it, that's essentially at least half of his stack that he'd had just from raising pre-flop. Right, so Tim is moving up, and he is playing to win, ladies and gentlemen. Tim is fighting for those pots. Let's see what he can make happen here on this final table as we are getting shorter and shorter with players getting eliminated. We only have 7 players left. 1 more player eliminated, and we will be at a half ante. Tim is taking advantage of that, picking up some of those full anteed pots. Everyone's folding to Attila now. He's at 43K, queen 3. He's going to fold on the button. Sean's going to get a walk. Sean has pocket 6s. Probably would have called an all in there from any of the players. 2 short stacks at the table, both Jamie and Attila. Attila sitting at 5.4 big blinds. 6.8 for Jamie. Frank is at 10 big blinds. Nightbot has joined us in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. He is sharing our Amazon store. Shows all the live streaming supplies and everything that we use and that we purchased on Amazon. Just a little affiliate store that gives the channel a little bit of a kickback to be able to help pay for some upgrades and equipment. Like it's double sharing. Nightbot is really on his game tonight. I'm actually going to see if I can fix that. Let's delete that timer.
It was probably over a year ago for sure.
Looks like we got a big blind versus small blind.
And back then I didn't have this where it was editing it for me, which wouldn't have been a big deal. But
Sean hitting the top pair here in the small blind against Kenny. 2 big stacks at the table. Sean throwing out a little bet, 20,000. He's gonna pick up that pot. 5 and a 7 of clubs down on the turn river. Kenny 194K, still the biggest stack of the table, but Sean is just trailing behind. 180K for him. Jimmy 140K. Tim is just behind Jimmy as well. I imagine we're going to see some all-ins here soon. We do have Attila and Jamie who have a crippling stack. Really under almost around 5 big blinds for the both of them. They're going to have to make something happen here quick. As those blinds and antes are punishing.
You have to hit the cards. That's it.
all right, action to Jimmy.
Yeah, there's lots of action, all right. Now I gotta put in one.
8.
16.
All in.
Jamie all in here with the ace-5. Great spot here to shove with your current chip stack. King Queen suited for Kenny. The big stack at the table in the small blind. He just has Tim behind, who he also has covered. Kenny already has 4,000 invested. It's only 50,000 more for him to call. And he's gonna make the call. Jamie's tournament life is at risk here. King Queen suited versus ace-5 offsuit. All-in situation. Ooh, 2 hearts with a gut shot as well. A 10 gives him a straight. 2 overcards. Wow, too many outs. And he can't hit it. Jamie's ace high is actually going to win that pot. Wow.
I don't know how you.
Players are just as shocked as I am. Kenny had too many out syndrome. You had too many cards that would have won you that pot, but you cannot find one in the deck. Very unlucky for Kenny there. But it was a great spot to go up against Jamie for an all-in situation. I think Kenny had to make that call. So great call from Kenny, just didn't work out. But that's a great spot for Jamie, really, to put Jamie back in this tournament.
At least it wasn't ace 10 day or something like that. At least
See what happens here.
you're in the lead. So the flop hit, you were doctored out with the flop hit.
Ace Jack for Sean. Bumps it up to 20,000. Ace 10 for Kenny. Kenny's gonna call. We now have the two big stacks going at it, Kenny and Sean. Well, I guess Kenny's not the big stack anymore after losing that pot to Jamie. Should be interesting. Wow, both players end up hitting the top pair. Sean has the best of it with the jack kicker. Firing out a 20,000 bet. Little continuation bet from Sean. Kenny shoves all in, 120,000. Wow, I don't see how Sean can fold in this situation. And Kenny might be in rough shape here. Only running to 2 10s. We see that a 10 was actually folded. Kenny has 2 outs. It's a great spot for Sean to pick up quite a bit of chips at this final table. And he folds! Sean folds the ace jack. Kenny ends up picking up that pot with the ace 10. He shows Sean an ace. Unbelievable. I can't believe Sean made that fold there. There were no big draws out there. Maybe he was just worried that Kenny had something a little bit better. Wow. We've seen some huge folds on this final table.
I don't know.
We've seen Frank earlier with the ace-queen folding to Kenny's bet. We've seen the pocket nines from Tim getting folded. Wow. We've seen, you know, and now we just seen Sean as well with the ace-jack. Players are playing very tight poker here.
Big one. That's the big fold there. Oh, it was. I folded a full house. You got time of Dan that time.
Yeah, I know you did. Couldn't believe it.
Kenny, you're happy with the fold, right?
Actually, I
I
am.
haven't seen an ace in.
I am, because I think he would hit his queen.
I didn't have a queen. He had a
Jack,
jack.
22, guys.
I just queen.
Kenny picking up that pot. That was a big pot. Big opportunity for Sean. A missed opportunity is what I should say. See Tim firing out a bet here, picking up those blinds. Remember what we were saying about those blinds and antes? Tim, 121K. He's keeping himself alive in this tournament with that aggression. Tim and Kenny seem to be the only people that really are going after some of these blinds and antes.
I'm beat. I know I'm beat.
Oh, wow.
I just knew I was beat. I had that.
I just can't believe some of the things I'm witnessing on this final table. Some players are giving the respect all around to the players. I don't know. Maybe let me know in the chat what you guys think. Do you think they're playing scared money? That's what they always. That's what I always tend to hear about my about just plays and stuff that I end up making. You know, people tell me that I'm scared money.
Ship it.
Not scared money here for Jimmy though. Pocket eights, 120,000, shoving in here on the dealer button, looking to pick up that 20K in the middle.
75, yeah. 75 total.
Looks like he only had 75,000. Looks like we're gonna have to adjust Jimmy's stack. He had a lot less than what he had originally said.
Alright, Jimmy.
Clear that off.
Could have been me.
Yeah, I'm giving.
Attilla decides it's time to put it in. We have a situation here, pocket eights versus pocket sixes.
Good job.
So eights are still ahead. Attila's looking for a 6 and a 6 only, and does not get it. Attilla
I had a queen. I had queen.
becoming our 7th place finisher at this final table, Jimmy adding to his stack. Now he's actually at the same stack that originally said that he was. Apparently he only had 75,000 behind, so
You know what's coming.
Jimmy is now back up to 121,000. Attilla ends up getting eliminated there with the pocket sixes. He was short stacked for most of this final table. Unfortunately, he just kind of had to put it in there and ended up running into Jimmy's pocket eights. But now that we are six-handed, the ante is now cut in half to allow a little bit more play on the final table. Glazen say, I think Kenny or Regis is a poker god. Sean had no choice but to lay down that ace-jack. He knew Regis would get there. Only way Regis loses these tournaments
That's what I told you when I told you. I did it for you.
is with a bad beat. Got a big fan for Kenny on the table, glazing. Pocket aces for Jimmy.
That was only a half, right? A half game.
Oh, yes, we are only half ante. Yeah, sorry. I just need one more. Yeah, call. I did already adjust it, so it would have threw stuff off.
Jimmy, pocket aces. Tim with the 3-2, bumping it up to 17K. Again, going after those blinds and antes. The ham sandwich. Tim is playing the ham sandwich. Jimmy looks like he's going to fire out a 3-bet here. 53,000. And Tim is, of course, going to fold. His attempt at stealing those blinds just unfortunately didn't work at that time. Players were getting fed up with you, Tim. People didn't want to see Tim stealing those blinds and andes anymore. But that gives Jimmy's actually in second place in chips now with 151,000.
I had the ham sandwich, buddy.
Yeah, see, everybody knows what the ham sandwich is now. We're making Tony's ham sandwich hand the star of the AOP streams. The good old ham sandwich. Sean says he's a Kenny fan himself. Glazen and Sean rooting for Kenny for the tournament.
Miracle, right? I mean, anyway. You'll see on the stream, I just ham sandwich, buddy.
See Devin over on Facebook. Steve Barber should be live from Razzies. Yeah, it's a lot of work. It's not something easy to do. Trust me, I can tell you from experience. It's not easy to pull off. A lot of work goes into these streams. So it looks like Jamie is gonna pick up that pot. We see. Look at our VPIPs. Kenny and Tim, the two highest VPIPs. We see Frank and Jimmy are the two lowest. 5% for Frank, 11% for Jimmy for VPIPs at this final table.
Because on the turn I ended up with fucking open ender and the flush draw. Can't go anywhere now.
Too many outs. Good work.
Yeah, too many outs hands at our table tonight. Lost.
Here we go. Moving into the next hand. Tim's action here with the ace-3. Find a better spot. Ace-5 for Frank in the cutoff. 60,000 under 10 big blinds, and he folds the ace-5. Sean's gonna call Kenny with the pocket nines in the big blind. Great hand to pick up. Kenny picking up some hands on this final table. Second time we've seen, second or third time actually, I think we've seen Kenny with the nines. Maybe only the second.
Is that twice you had them now?
Yep, first
Oh,
time
so it is twice. Kenny had pocket nines twice.
You're supposed to fold those.
Finally picking up a pot for small blind to big blind. Wasn't a very big pot, but it was a pot nonetheless. See, Glazen asking, was it cold in the basement? Jamie is bundled right up. Maybe trying to hide his poker tells. This is a competitive final table.
It was close. But
I do find it cold in the basement sometimes.
it needs to be a full bet.
At least on the feet, anyway. Right? Because if you're in a basement, concrete floor, right? Well, it's not concrete floor; it's laminate floor, but it's gets your feet kind of cold. Usually recommending bringing a pair of slippers or something. But yeah, Jamie must be hiding his tells. He's trying to win this tournament.
Depends what the start is.
Yeah.
It's the blind. It's the blind.
Like that's
fits
only
for
an
that,
8,000
so.
raise, right? 16. If it's 8 and it goes 16, it's only maybe.
Looks like everybody's folding around to Sean on the button with the queen 3 suited.
More than 12. Because blinds were 2 and 4 at the time. He raised to 16. So the actual bet was 12, so the bet needed to be more than 12, and it wasn't. Because
Talking about the hand where Dan ended up reopening, it was incorrect ruling that was ended up made. It was the right ruling, but the wrong decision is what I should say. The ruling is correct, but the decision was made incorrectly at the table of allowing Dan to reopen the action for that hand. It's like Kenny is going to pick up that pot again with some aggression, showing the importance of aggression on these final tables.
4,000 his blind out of the equation, so now he has 21,000 behind. Dan bet 12,000, right? Is what his bet was. Bernie's bet needed to be at least 12,000 for it to reopen. 12,000 more for it to be able to reopen.
Talking about that ruling over again.
I looked it up because we had an issue with Dan.
It's the second time I am correct there. We are.
Exact same.
It's the second time we've had that issue. Oh, excuse me. I just had to sneeze. It's the second time we had that issue. I think with Dan actually was in the other one too, where we ended up allowing him to reopen the action when he couldn't. Very common issue. A lot of people say that as long as the bet is at least 50% of the bet, he's allowed to reopen. That is incorrect for tournament rules. That is a limit poker rule. So for the people that are just curious about that, for somebody to reopen the action, it has to be at least a full bet to the original bettor. Sean's just going to shove all in here with the aces. Not going to just pick up those blinds, but that's, again, those blinds are enough. So let's take a look at this. Glazen says, matter of time for fireworks here between Sean and Regis. Sean splashing around a bit. Maybe Sean here would just woke up with the aces. Very nice hand to have. We do have some short stacks at the table. A couple people hovering around that 10 big blind mark, but we are six-handed. This should be interesting to see what happens. I see Devin in the chat says, what was the buy-in and the payouts? We had a $120 buy-in, and it's a buy-in, rebuy, and add-on tournament. So $40 buy-in, $40 rebuy, $40 add-on. With the pool, the money that was in the pot between the 14 players. First place was $750. Third place is $340, and third place is $150. Ooh, we got a situation here. Jamie bumping up to 45,000 with pocket nines. Kenny with the ace king shoving all in with the ace king 120,000. Jimmy with a mid pocket pair, pocket sevens, and a very tough decision. He's gonna let the sevens go. Frank is his pocket fours. Wow, we've seen a ton of pocket pairs on this final table. Frank is going to throw away the fours. Jamie puts it in with the nines. You can hear that sound that the blinds are going to be going up next hand. Got ourselves a coin flip situation. Pocket nines versus ace king. Jamie's tournament life is at risk. It's a great flop. All those two spades, no backdoors, but he has a straight draw now. The ace king, and he doesn't hit it. Jamie picking up a nice double up. 264,000 now for Jamie in his stack. That is a big pot. Jamie back in this tournament. And now going to be a force to reckon with at the final table. Wow, what a hand that was. I mean, we ended up seeing Jimmy being in a tough spot there with the pocket sevens. And of course, Frank, I believe Frank is a short stack at the table. Ended up having to fold the fours there. It was a great fold for both players, as we can see. So it was nice, Jamie picking up a double up there with the pocket nines. Kenny, unfortunately, has not had. He's had some luck at the tournament, at the final tables, but just can't seem to be winning his coin flips when he needs them. We see Jamie's now the biggest stack at the table with 264K. Kenny has actually moved himself to the middle of the pack. He's now under 100K. I believe it said 96K for Kenny. It's a great spot for Jamie now.
Was it actually posted? It was. Okay. I'm pretty sure it went up. It was still going as the blind went up.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was.
It's only 1,000 more. 1,000 difference anyway.
You just cost me like $6 grand.
But yeah, I'm glad everyone can is here tuning in tonight. Always love bringing these streams and stuff to you guys. It's always good to see everybody in the chat. Everybody just jumping in there, spending their Saturday afternoon, I guess, Saturday evening with me, which is a huge. I don't know why you guys want to spend it with me, but yay, you know, I welcome it. Makes me feel a little ego trip for me. Makes me feel more popular than I actually am. Queen Jack for Tim. Gonna limp in here. Blinds are now 5,000, 10,000 with a 5,000 big blind ante. Again, 20,000 in the middle.
Appreciate that.
Collusion.
See, my headset's about to die. I'm gonna have to plug this baby in before it dies on you guys. That'd be disastrous.
That is 12.
Tell me you had a jack. Oh.
Tim, again, picking up that pot.
Jack six.
Tim fighting to win here. He wants to win this tournament.
Going to
Again,
shove.
fighting for those blinds.
Check this one, see what happens.
I think you got whatever all you're gonna get.
See,
More money in the pot.
Blazing in the chat. Jamie risked it all in a flip against the god of poker and came out on top. Yes, he did.
King 3.
Yes, he did. It was a coin flip situation. Regis couldn't get a proper tell with Jamie all bundled up. Yes, that must be it. That has to be it.
My number all night.
Kenny could never make a mistake in that spot.
Call. Option.
Ace King for Sean. 25K in the middle. That must have been just a limped pot. Blind versus blind pot, maybe? Guess I kind of missed that. Just trying to update a title over on Kick, seeing that it was wasn't properly updated.
I want to keep it as long as I could.
See, Nightbot is actually working, so I think this is the first time I think Nightbot has actually been on its game and actually working when it's supposed to. But shout out to Nightbot and sharing the Amazon storefront.
Do you see our cards there? No, you just see them. You just know that they're registered. That's all.
Yeah, it's
Right?
just, it's just, yeah.
Gotcha.
Ace Jack for Kenny. Kenny picking up tons of premiums on the final table. All in, putting maximum pressure back on the small blind. Sean limping in here with the Queen 3. Putting the pressure to him. Kenny is going to pick up that pot. Defending his big blind. You don't come after Kenny's big blinds. If you want to play, you are going to pay the price, as Kenny does there. Putting maximum pressure. Kenny actually moving himself up to 106K. Definitely a roller coaster ride in chips for Kenny. He was like a big stack at the table, and now he's like below. He's a little bit of a short stack after winning 2 coin flips. Now he has changed his play and his situation here, and he's looking to get those chips back from those players that stole them from his coin flips. See what Kenny can do and make happen here on this final table.
I'll check with you. Can't go away. Check her down, bud.
Got a small blind versus big blind.
About half an hour.
Half hour.
I drive slower at night because
Kenny spiking a pair of 10s here.
Yeah.
Tim with nothing but ace high. Just gonna show him the ace high.
Over in Twin Oaks, like 2 minutes from there.
Yeah.
Kenny, I believe he showed him an 8 there. Maybe a 10. Hard to say.
Small kicker. That is small kicker.
Jamie still the biggest stack at their table now. Kenny slowly moving up the pack. Some of these players. Frank, poor Frank, sitting at 4.3 big blinds. Frank is very short. Hasn't played any hands here at the final table. For barely any hands. And the blinds and antes are just dwindling away at his stack.
Next week sometime.
We have seen chip in a chair situations before. Usually you want to try to avoid those. See what Frank is going to make happen here. Jack 9 offsuit under the gun. Just going to let it go. We're on hand number 44.
I'd swing my arm right now.
Ace 4 suited for Sean, limping in here with, for 10K, allowing Jimmy and Tim in cheap. I think a bet there might have actually gotten both the players to fold. Sean here with the best hand, 2 queens out on the board. Jimmy actually, sorry, Jimmy has a pair of 5s. I didn't notice that. Jimmy actually has the check mark here. Sean spiking the 4 on the river, but it's not going to be good enough. Jimmy has a 5. Jimmy looks a little confused by that 10,000 bet. Looks like Tim is confused as well.
I'll do you a favor.
All right.
Jimmy's curious. He wants to see it.
Pair of 4s.
Pair of 5s.
Yep.
Pair of 4s, ace kicker.
Pair of 5s.
Pair of 5, sorry.
The pair of 5s. Jimmy looked Sean up in that spot. Didn't believe him. I think Jimmy read that spot perfectly. I think Tim did as well. I think they both believe that Sean just spiked a 4 on the river. As I said, you know, maybe a bet pre-flop would have actually won you that pot there with the ace 4 suited. Would have got Tim out of the hand, I think, with the king 2, and Jimmy would have ended up folding as well. Good spot for Sean to be able to pick up the blinds, but instead he allowed them to see use their blinds and see their pots really cheap. Jimmy got to see a free flop, and it ended up working out for Jimmy. Devin in the chat says Jack 9 should have shoved there. Well, you are pretty low in chips. You do need to make something happen. Really got to start taking some chances here. We're not really close to the money bubble yet. We're only paying top 3. So he's got to be in the play to win scenario. Try to build up as many chips as you can. Kenny is going to fire out a bet here. 40,000. 4x bet. Frank decides to put it in here. Patience may have paid off here. Pocket 8s.
39, you guys.
It's got Kenny crushed.
So you don't fold.
Oh,
Great spot for pocket 8s.
he's an ace. Oh, he's got one here.
I only got 2 notes.
See if Kenny can spike an ace here. Oh, there's hearts. Backdoor hearts. No, he's just going to need a 10 or an... Oh, there it is, the 10. It's a chop pot. Wow, Kenny actually gets a little bit lucky. He had some chop possibilities. Also was just looking for an ace there, but nice chop pot. Lucky for Kenny. Oh, looks like my camera. My webcam stopped working.
Well, I get the extra one this time.
Let's get this back. Hello, welcome. There we go. We got the bird. Bird's up there picking away at her cage.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
You heard me call her name.
You're good, buddy.
Hi, bird. Doesn't want to wave at me.
Kenny's calling his cards now.
That's okay. That's okay.
I'm going for the full advance of a while
It's up there
ago.
probably eating some popcorn.
That was,
But yes,
we'll talk about that one.
she a little story with the popcorn. I had gone to the casino. I left her out of her cage just to kind of sit there. She usually sits there and falls asleep. I had some popcorn, a bag of popcorn on my desk. She flew onto my computer desk and ripped apart that bag of popcorn, put popcorn all inside my keyboard. Started pressing, she was standing on my video switcher, pushed a bunch of the buttons. Popcorn everywhere. It was an absolute disaster. She took a shit on my desk. Let me tell you, I was not impressed when I got back from the casino. She is now going to be going on into her cage anytime I leave now. Not leaving her out. I can't trust her. So Kenny's going to limp in here with the Queen 10 in the hijack. Jimmy's going to limp in as well with the Ace 7.
Check. That is 20,000.
Looks like Jamie has a little bit of a gut shot here, but his 8 and his 6 is good as well. An 8 here would, or a 9, sorry, would end up chopping the pot. the 2 pair on the board with the king kicker, but it looks like Kenny's queen high, queen 10 high is actually going to be the best hand. Kenny firing out what looks to be 30,000 bet. He's going to pick up that pot, quite a big pot, 110,000 in that pot. Kenny, look at this. Kenny has actually moved himself back up to second place in chips, 176K, not far behind Jamie at all. Again, Frank's sitting at 3.8K, or 3.8 big blinds. Frank in absolute terrible shape. Needs to make something happen. Gonna blind himself out here. It's on the button.
What you know now.
I never want to do that.
Pocket aces for Kenny. Wow, Kenny is just dominating this final table. He's getting tons of hands. He's played so many hands. We're up to hand number 47. Kenny's just going to limp in with the aces. It's actually a good move here, I think, with the aces, considering Frank's low stack. It gives Kenny the opportunity to reopen if he needs to. But looks like Kenny is just going to call behind as he is the last player. Pocket aces versus pocket eights. I don't think the eights are going to work out for Frank this time. There's an ace on the flop. Looks like the check mark is going to Kenny. Frank finally eliminated with those pocket eights. Couldn't make anything happen there. Frank ends up placing 6th place for this tournament. Looks like we had a card that didn't read.
Ace queen?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, it was 6 of hearts.
It was his queen. You muted 20.
There we go.
I wasn't just called.
Yeah.
Frank eliminated 6th place, and now Kenny has actually moved up to the biggest stack at the table. Kenny claiming his top spot yet again, 234K. Kenny with the pocket aces. Fortunately, poor timing for Frank with the eights, but you know, again, he was an absolute crippling stack. He pretty much had to move it there with any 2, I think. You know, you got to make something happen when you're that low in chips.
That's really what it is.
Fortunately, those are the joys of poker. You can't win every game. You can't win every tournament sometimes. Lady Luck is not on your side. And it just did not work out. So let's see what happens here. Tim now under the gun. I believe he is our next shortest stack at the table. Sean going to limp in the small blind. Another small blind versus big blind situation between Sean and Kenny. See what Kenny wants to do here with the Jack 3. He's going to check. Queen 9 suited for Sean. Great flop for Sean. Getting a flush draw. Kenny's going to take a stab at it. 15,000. Nice little feeler bet out there. It's a good paired board. So we see that Sean actually has the clubs. Sean's going to make the call. There's the 9. A pair of 9s now for Sean. A great card. Kenny's only running to a jack. Both players check. Sean was a little bit worried about that 10 out on the board. But Sean has the 2 pair at 9s and 6s with the queen kicker. Picking up that little pot. Very interesting. Tim, yeah, Tim's the short stack at the table, 8.3 big blinds at 83K. Sean, 13 big blinds after. Everybody is a little bit short. You know, they're under when they're around that 15 big blind mark. You got to start considering your options and the moves and stuff you're going to be making. Every chip is very valuable on a final table, so it's something to consider. All the chips that are in play in the tournament are on that final table, so something to consider. Here we go. Glazin, all players fear Regis. Only bad beats will take down Kenny. Yes. Well, that's not true. He lost a couple coin clips. But Kenny is doing well now. It's definitely a roller coaster ride with Kenny on the final table. Jamie with the King Jack on the cutoff, bumping it up to 45K. Quite a large size bet. Wants to go after Tim's chips. There's a little rivalry between Tim and Jamie. It's actually moved Jamie now. Jamie and Kenny are going to be fighting for that top spot, as they are very close in chips, both hovering around that 20 big blind mark.
Ace queen, I would have been saying all in.
We got 15 viewers over on YouTube. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. You know, make sure to like and subscribe if you guys are interested and you guys want to see when we go live, get notified on all that goodness. It would really help out the channel. Just even if you just want to throw a like, it'll help kind of push this out to more people. So thank you again from me, and we're going to move into this hand. It's like Jamie's going to bump it up to 45K again, but he's got King Queen this time. A little bit better than his King Jack, and Jimmy here with the Ace 5 is just going to fold. Jamie taking advantage of his big stack at the table again, going after those blinds and antes. Kenny has a very high VPIP here, 48% on the final table. We can see that he is actually getting quite a bit of hands. So it's very reasonable VPIP to have, considering the hands you've been getting. But Jamie, using his big stack, he is going after the blinds and antes. Looks like blinds are still 5,000, 10,000 to 5,000 big blind antes. So there's 20,000 in the middle to go after. Decent amount of chips. Kenny here with Ace 7 and the cutoff. Remember, we're 6-handed. Actually, 5-handed now, sorry. And now that Frank got eliminated. Ace 7, it's a great hand to have, 5-handed. It's going to bump it up to 30K. Jamie's going to make the call here with the Queen Jack. Looks like Kenny's going to be able to spike a 7. It's actually an interesting flop for Jamie. Looking for a queen or jack. He's got 2 overs, but he's just going to fold. Like Kenny is going to battle Jamie, the big stack at the table. See, Jamie actually would have hit a queen on the turn. Nice little rabbit hunting. Definitely something you do not see Kenny and Jamie fighting for that top spot. Now Kenny is the top big stack at 239K. Always enjoy doing the rabbit hunting. Nice to see what happens, you know, especially into some weird spots. What would have ended up happening turn river. It gives us something to talk about. You don't see any of the other streams that run, you know, even do rabbit hunting and stuff like that. Maybe the online guys that are playing online, but that's just like a completely different thing. This is something very unique. We're playing live poker here. You don't see Hustlers of the Lodge rabbit hunting. This is why we bring unique content, unique low stakes content. Only people out there that is really running this low of stakes on an RFID table. So welcome. You guys are here joining us, making history for poker on these streaming platforms. Jimmy here with the Jack 8. He's going to fold on the button. Doesn't want to battle Jamie or Sean. It's like we got ourselves a call and a whip and a check behind. Jamie hitting a pair of 6s here. Sean hitting top pair and checking it on that flop. Being a little bit suspicious here. Firing a $10,000 bet. Jamie cheap enough for him to call and see a river card. I think Sean's king is a little bit disguised here, where he checked it on the flop. Might be able to get some value here if he fires out a little bet, which he does. 10,000. Jamie calls. It's going to show the king. The king is the best hand. Sean extracting some value there with his top pair. Definitely picking up some chips from Jamie. Sean moving himself middle of the pack. 161K. Tim now 6.3 big blinds, and we just heard the sound. Blinds will be going up. The price of poker has gone up, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be going up to 6,000, 12,000 with a 6,000 big blind ante. I'm not sure if it's actually going to be in play for this hand or not. We're going to have to take a look here. Looks like it's getting entered into the tablet. So here we go. Blinds are now 6,000, 12,000 with a 6,000 big blind ante. Action is to Tim. Now we even rough shape now. Have 5 big blinds essentially. Queen 10. I think this is a move he just has to make. Queen 10. Really take his chance here. And if not, he picks up 24K in the middle. Which is definitely a lot of chips to pick up, especially with his given chip stack. And it looks like he might just pick it up. Kenny has 7-2. The importance of aggression. Shows the 7-2 to Tim.
I gotta make a move now. Joey's blinds are coming and I'm gonna get eaten alive if I don't make a move. So
Tim picking up some of those chips. Glazing in the chat says, that's right. The price of poker has gone up. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to see, now the blinds are going up, it's gonna be start punishing to the players, especially the ones that have been patient and the ones that have been making some big folds in situations where they more than likely probably should have been putting the money in. So we should be able to see what is going to happen. Let's see who it works out for on the final table. We are 5-handed. We're paying top 3, so 2 more out, and we are in the money. 1 more eliminated, and then we are on the money bubble.
It should be 5-10 at Hades, really. Just change it. You know what I mean? Why keep it at 6-12? Just go to 5-10. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it just makes it simpler, right?
55,000. Is that?
I wish.
So it's like Jamie is going to pick up the chips there, just the blinds.
We're not ahead yet, but I was ahead. Alright, Jack 4, bud.
Yeah, crush.
18 big blinds for Kenny and 17 big blinds for Jamie. And even the big stacks at the table are not in
Deuce was coming.
really great shape either with how high the blinds are. You know, it's just you know, when people are just folding, right? When people are really dwindling their stacks down to almost nothing, it does make for a long game of poker.
You know what I mean?
But they are in okay shape, but not terrible. I mean, 20 big blinds at a final table, but as that being the big stack, you don't really typically see a much 3-betting, right? Because it's either someone bets and it's just a shove, right? Tim here, great shove here with the ace-10. Again, he just has to go after those blinds and antes. 9-7 suited for Jimmy. Pretty much a 60-40 situation, and he's gonna fold.
Guarantee I had 2 live cards.
No, for sure.
Look at our pre-flop betting here.
Kenny
Kenny,
fold, I got a chance.
23%, Jamie, 20%, and Tim, 20%. Both Sean and Jimmy are sitting at 9% for pre-flop betting, barely raising here at all on the final table. You can see that Tim, Kenny, and Jamie have been the ones that have been going after those blinds and antes, and you can see with them having their high pre-flop betting, they are still in this tournament, right? It just shows the importance about being aggressive and going after those blinds and antes, especially at this level. Sean limping in here with the queen 10 off. Again, and what we were just saying about going after those blinds and antes. But Tim here with the ace-9 decides to put it in. Might be Sean's intention for a limp, right? Knowing there's a short stack behind that could shove to reopen the action. Sean with queen 10. It's essentially a coin flip right here as well, but he does fold. Wow!
I got it through.
A fold from Sean here with the limp. Got to be aware of those short stacks behind. Essentially just giving Tim a free blind there. Putting Tim now. Now Jimmy's actually the short stack at the table. Tim's sitting at that 10 big blind mark.
9-2? Yeah.
Very interesting play. Tyson in the chat from Facebook says, "Where is this located? Can anyone join every Saturday?" No, it's a lot of questions. First off, we're located in Moncton, New Brunswick, so we're on the Atlantic side in Canada. The Canadian poker stream, pretty much the only Canadian stream, I believe, on the internet. And can anyone join? No. That is not, you know, pretty, not everyone can join. You know, typically we have forms and stuff that need to be filled out to be aware of games. And, you know, we do try to stream every Saturday. Some of the stuff may end up changing in the future as, you know, life changes for me mostly. But yeah, we usually go live every Wednesday and Saturday. We do have a cash game that we end up playing. So that we go live on as well. The cash game is always exciting. 1-1 cash. There's tons of content like that on the channel. So if you guys are new, you guys can check it out on YouTube. YouTube is probably my recommendation for a place to check this out, as it does have the best streaming quality compared to Facebook. Also has all the content on there that we've been putting out for the last 2 years. So it's a very unique stream, very unique stuff. So if you're interested, please check that out and like and subscribe. Right, all that stuff helps and building the channel and building a community here. That's what our goal is. Trying to bring free entertainment to the local poker community and the poker world, as this is a very unique stream.
No, I know.
So let's move into the next hand. We got 18 viewers over on YouTube. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in over on YouTube. Big shout out to you guys. You guys always seem to dominate the numbers for social media over there on YouTube. Sean and Kenny going at it again. Blind versus blind. Sean's just going to limp in here with the king 10. Letting Kenny have the position over him with any two cards from the big blind. Kenny has the 5-4 suited.
Like Quebec's coming down.
Ooh, Sean ends up hitting top pair here. Kenny ends up hitting a bottom pair. Let's see what happens. 30K in the middle.
Guy that stuck up to him last year. The only guy
Sean is going to opt for a bet.
Last year they changed it again, right?
No, last year
It's
was
like
the
a
same thing.
20,000
He would
bet.
dance around and stuff. I hit him illegal every time. He's like, I'll beat you. I was like, Olivier, set your feet, man.
He's walking.
Yeah, all the time.
I was saying that
All the
here.
time.
I said, holy fuck, boy,
All
he's
the time.
walking.
All the time.
You don't think I haven't pitched enough to know that?
Even when I was on the bags, I was hitting him illegal. Because the umpire wasn't, the home umpire wasn't calling. I was like, I'm gonna call it from here. And then he's like, you gotta set your feet, man.
It's like Sean. Kenny's going to end up
You
calling that.
know what
7K in
he's
the middle.
doing.
Sean's going to end up
But when
going
you-
for a second bullet.
And when you talk to him,
And it looks like it's going to get through this time. It's a big pot for Sean to pick up.
He doesn't like.
Picking up
Smartest
110K.
Smartest pitcher I've ever seen.
110K pot. Adding to his stack. Let's take a look at the chip stacks now. Sean still third place in chips, 163K. Kenny top stack, 201. Jamie in second place. See Jimmy short stack, 8.8K or 8.8 big blinds.
I agree with that too. Like people haven't shot.
Blinds are coming around, Jimmy. Something's gonna have to happen here soon. You're gonna get blinded out.
On a fucking run, man. They were giving guys some trouble down here.
Jimmy's just waiting for some cards.
Oh yeah.
It's the dealer's fault. It's the dealer's
He played
fault.
really well in
Jack
Canada.
10
He's gotta get
off
hot,
suit
man.
under the
He's
gun.
gotta get the bats hot.
Is this gonna be it? No, he decides to fold.
Been there enough.
Right.
A7 for Jamie in the cutoff.
Then you look what the.
Opting
when
for a
the
bet.
Gophers won at Newfoundland, 1-0.
Bumping it up to 55K. It's quite a large bet.
Right.
King Jack for Sean.
Todd Murdoch, Joe Timian, Stack Blind. Can you get a triple? That's
It looks like Jamie shows the ace. Everybody's showing their cards on the final table, trying to establish an image. I don't know. I don't know what you guys think about that. I'm not a guy who likes to show. I usually don't show ever. I don't show my cards unless I have to. I like people guessing. I've been told multiple times that people want to see me on these final tables. Just because, you know, here I am. I have all the information of how everybody else plays, but nobody knows how I play. You know, I'd love to do it. It's just where I run the system and stuff. It's best to try and, you know, keep the integrity of the game where I have access to all that stuff. Not that I would do anything anyway, but the players would just have to understand. I think players have kind of gone to a point now where they trust me with what I'm doing. So we never jeopardize this. I put a lot of investment into it, so it's like we got Ace Jack versus Ace Jack. Jamie versus Kenny, Ace Jack. Let's see if we have a similar situation between Bernie and Sean with the Ace Jack suited. Ace Jack suited ended up eliminating Bernie from the tournament. Let's see if Kenny can make it happen. Looks like it's not going to happen, but the diamonds are out there. Nothing is going to happen. We got a splitty, a little splitty pot for that hand. Ace Jack versus Ace Jack. See Glazen over on YouTube. Where has Jeremy been lately? Jeremy, I believe, had a little bit of bad luck in this tournament. He actually played the tournament. Unfortunately, just didn't end up working out earlier on in the tournament. Ended up getting eliminated. Glazen says Jamie's warmed up. Took his armor off. Time for Kenny to strike. That's right. He took his hood off. He had the opportunity there. Pocket 10s for Sean under the gun. Firing out a 30,000 bet. Jimmy, ace 2 suited. Is this going to be it for Jimmy? He is all in. Jimmy all in here with the ace 2 suited. We've seen Sean make big folds before. Let's see if he's going to fold here. Jimmy might actually just win this spot. Action is to Sean. Just waiting for the graphics to get put in there properly. as the dealer ensures that the stacks are correct.
Oh, 'cause you- right.
Small blind.
54.
I call.
Well,
Ace deuce. Tens.
Look at this. We got it. He calls. Ace deuce suited versus pocket tens. Jimmy's tournament life is at risk. Does have a little bit of gut shot. Backdoor clubs. Does not hit the backdoor clubs. Does not hit anything else that he needs. Jimmy eliminated from the tournament. 5th place. Ladies and gentlemen, we are four-handed now. We are on the money bubble. See, take a look at the chip stack. Sean is now the biggest stack at the table, 345K with 45% of the chips on the table. Kenny looks like second place, 207. Can be anybody's tournament. We are now four-handed money bubble, ladies and gentlemen. This is where it gets exciting. Next player eliminated will not be making any money. See what happens here. So usually they say this is a great time to try to pick up chips, as people are reluctant to get their money in on the bubble. Kenny here with ace queen under the gun, just shoving all in, saying, I'm putting it all in here, you guys. Let's play for it all. 207K. Everybody folds, picks up those blinds, shows the ace queen. Everybody's showing their cards.
Ace queen. Yeah.
This is going to be an exciting four-handed, I think.
Nice hand.
Kenny going after those blinds and antes. Be interesting to see. 17 viewers over on YouTube. Gotten 5 over on Facebook. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the All Out Poker live stream. Ace King for Tim under the gun. Here we go. 94K. Pocket fives for Sean. Coin flip situation. Sean going to make the call here. He is a big stack at the table. He folds. Wow, Sean folds the pocket fives there. Tim end up picking up those pots. Tim hasn't played. He's played a couple pots and he's being quite aggressive. You know, even though Sean has pocket fives there, it's not a horrendous fold either with the pocket fives. You know, we've seen that it is a coin flip situation. But Tim is short, so it is something that we need to consider. He has been trying to go after it. He's been actually showing it too. He's been showing everybody what he's been shoving with. So you should be able to get a pretty good idea of what his shoving range would be. Basically, it was going to be a coin flip, as we can see.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
Right.
No, it was good.
Blazin says, if a player doesn't tap the table after a showdown, do they forfeit the hand? Maybe. Maybe it's a rule we should implement. We'll call it the Glazin rule.
55.
Yeah, 55.
Tim's going to fold the king five suited to Jamie. Jamie making a very sizable raise. Possibly doing it to, you know, just win the blinds and really just kind of put quite a bit of pressure on the players, putting them in a spot where it's either shove all in or fold. Not giving them any kind of chance to play and go after, you know, min bets and stuff is typically you'll end up seeing a lot of people, or I should say some people playing the small ball strategy and just kind of min betting and all that kind of stuff. But not Jamie. Jamie is putting in a sizable bet, putting them to the test of either all in or fold situations. Sean here with an ace-8 offsuit. At 30,000. Got our V-pips. Kenny, 44% with all the great hands Kenny's been getting on the final table. Jamie, 29%. Sean, 29%. And Tim is 26%. You know, we're going to be seeing them play more hands. Those V-pips are just going to be going up as we get short-handed. So I'm actually interested to see what hand we are on currently. Blazen says, now that the popcorn is gone, you could buy a single bag and turn it into a bomb pot to entice the people to win a hand in a cash game. Popcorn. Now the popcorn is gone.
It almost worked out for.
Popcorn's still here.
Right, he would have threw it in the muck. I was taking it.
The popcorn is still
It
here.
was going to Corey.
Right. Right.
There was actually still some in the machine.
So I'm a stickler for rules. I like to do it as right as I can.
And the popcorn's free, so it does not really. It wouldn't really entice anybody to do anything. It's free popcorn. What we need is all-out poker merch. Throw some all-out poker merch into the middle to increase the bomb pots, make the likelihood people want to fight after it. Jamie, 65K. Again, putting that pressure. Tim is going to fold here with the Jack 10. Jamie picking up those, picking up that pot. Marco in the chat from YouTube says, I swear this is the best stream for a good night. 100% every time I lay in bed and pop this out. Welcome, Marco. I'm glad you can join us on the stream. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I do try my best. I try my best with everything. Again, it's just a one-man operation here. You know, no team of people running this. So really means a lot to all the kind words, so thank you. Glazen says, I thought you broke the popcorn machine. It wasn't broke, it just had to be really cleaned. I left a piece of popcorn in there that just like burnt the inside of the kettle, so I had to like scrub it really hard. It took me about 45 minutes to an hour to get that damn thing clean. Sean limping in here, small blind again, never giving Kenny any kind of walks. Kenny's just going to put some extra pressure on him. You can see Kenny actually has Sean crushed here with the King 7. Sean does fold. Kenny picking up that pot. Nice little pot for Kenny to pick up going after the blinds and the antes. They are quite high. Tim, 6.8 big blinds, still in a little bit rough shape here. He's been trying to make stuff happen on the final table, just can't do it. Marcus says, can you please tell me the buy-in and prizes? Yes, so it's a $40, we run a 2-table tournament usually. Sometimes last tournament, I think it was like 4 or 3 tables. But we do a $40 buy-in, a $40 rebuy, and a $40 add-on. So it's first place is $750. Second place was $340, and $150 for third place.
Actually, I was talking to Julie about it, and it was just like looking at like yourself from like an outside perspective. Yeah. Like
Glazen says the Marco, the cash games are a good one to watch. Yes, the cash games are. You see a lot of money getting thrown around in the cash games. For a 1-1 cash game, it plays more like a 1-2 to 1-3, depending on how much money gets on the table. Makes a massive difference when you see no money coming off the table from rake. So it's you know, the chip stacks just keep building up and building up. Very nice to see.
Yeah.
Glaze says the parrot's getting into the action. She's cheering on Regis Philman. Yeah, she's definitely been a little more vocal. I think she's up in her little spot up there. You can kind of see her up there. We're in the storage room, so I can kind of join her. This is where my editing stuff is, so I can actually you know, kind of be away from everybody and do commentating if we when we decide to go live and stuff. Sean, pocket 6s here, under the gun. See what Sean decides to do. Blinds 6,000, 12,000, and we just for this hand, just heard the blinds are going up. We're on hand number 69.
It's just 12 for now. Yeah, it's just 12 for now.
Looks like he thought it was 16. Looks like he's just going to limp in here with the pocket 6s. Tim shoving all in here. King 8 off suit. We're on the money bubble. Tim might have sensed weakness from that limp. Just deciding to put it in here with the King 8. I can't blame Tim. I think it's a great spot to shove. I probably would have done the same. Sean's going to count out some chips to make a decision. You've seen him fold to Tim's all-in before with the pocket 5s versus ace king, but he's going to call here with the pocket 6s. Tim has a little bit worse, but it is still a coin flip situation. Pocket 6s versus King 8 off suit. Let's see what develops on this flop. Pocket 6 is still ahead. 9 now. Give him a little bit of additional outs. But Tim does not end up hitting what he needs. Tim is our money bubble player, ladies and gentlemen. We are now in the money. Top 3 paid. Sean, Kenny, and Jamie are now in the money, and we are going to see a battle happening between these 3 players.
Head to the casino now, Tim?
No.
There we go. First place, as we mentioned to Marco earlier, first place, $750. Second place, $340, and third place will be $150. We will see these payouts as players get eliminated from the screen that shows up after every hand. Let's see what develops now that the players are in the money.
Nice to see you and catch up with you.
Next time, guys.
Yep.
Blinds are now... oh, looks like I got to adjust the blinds on the tablet. Make sure everything stays correct for chip stacks. So now blinds are 8,000, 16,000 with an 8,000 big blind ante. As we always say, the price has gone up, ladies and gentlemen. The price of poker has gone up. So he's got a small blind Jamie versus Sean situation. Blind versus blind. 3 spades coming down on the board. Jamie has a king. Sean has the 10 of spades. I think we're just going to check it all the way down to the river. Looks like Jamie is going to have the best hand here with the king. Jamie with the best hand. See Jamie moving up the chip stacks here. Sean is now the shortest stack at the table.
For third, 340 for second, and 750 for first.
Or actually, maybe that wasn't the blinds. My mistake.
Should have made it a little more talk, I think, but...
Just talking about the payouts. Congratulating the players for making the money. Glazen says, it was inevitable. Yes, unfortunately, Tim kind of just had to push it in there, make something happen. Jamie's going to fold the 4-3 on the button. Sean, again, not giving Kenny any kind of room. No walks for Kenny. Sean limps in for the 8. Well, actually, I guess he's... Sorry, he has the 8K in here for the small blind. I thought he put it in. 8,000 more for Sean to call. He hasn't been giving Kenny any walks tonight, but he decides to give him a walk this time. Kenny shows the ace. Kenny probably would have been firing out a little bit of a bet there. But we see Sean, top chip stack at the table, 345K. Kenny, second place, 245K. Jamie with 11 big blinds at 172K. Still anybody's chance here to win this final table. Nobody's in crippling stack. Jamie's getting kind of low there with the 11 big blinds, but we are 3-handed. Pocket queens for Sean on the button. See what he decides to do here. Hand number 72. Shoves all in. Maximum pressure. Kenny, wow. Now Kenny's in a little bit of a tough spot. Pocket 6s. He's going to fold. That was a big shove from Sean, putting both Kenny and Jamie to the test.
Oh, yeah.
Marco says, the man with the Puma hat will win this. We got another supporter for Kenny. Sam is rooting for Sean. Sam says he wants Sean to win. Glazen, I already know who Glazen's cheering for. Says, Davey boy, have you tried the orange cream Coca-Cola yet? Coca-Cola? Quite good when chilled. No, I haven't. I actually haven't. Have not tried that. I didn't even know they came out with that. It does sound pretty good though. Does it taste like a creamsicle? I love creamsicles. Those things were amazing. The fudgicles and the... Although I'm a big ice cream sandwich guy, so... Looks like we got another fold here. Players are just biding their time. Calvin says he wants Kenny top 3 again. What a superstar. Yes, Kenny has been doing well. Made 2 final tables. I believe he won the last final table. Maybe. Did he win it, or did you guys split? I can't remember. Both Calvin and Kenny were at the final 2 for the final table. So Jamie with the Jack 3, just letting it go here. Pocket 4s for Sean. Just gonna limp in. No bet from Sean. Looks like Kenny is gonna put some pressure on Sean. Raises to 56K total. Sean just want to put them all in here. No, he's just gonna flat call. Dangerous flop for both players. Let's see who's gonna try to bluff at it. Kenny gonna make a continuation bet here with the 10-7. It's pretty much complete air. Sean now with 3 overcards on the board. He folds. Sean was looking for that set on the flop. Seeing a 7 and a king on the river. Kenny actually would have hit a pair of 7s. He would have ended up winning that pot anyway. From the turn bet, I think a little bit more aggression from Sean there might have actually picked him up that pot. But Calvin says, no, Kenny and Calvin, we split it, and then he won the flip, all in flip. Oh, that's right. That's right, yeah. Yeah, so I guess, yeah, with the all-in flip, I mean, it was, I guess, considered a win for Kenny. Glazen says, Regis, take this down. I called fireworks for Sean and Regis when this table began. I could see it playing out like this. Maybe so. Maybe so. Kenny with a fun hand there. The 8-7 suited in the small blind. Gonna go for a bet here. Jamie shoves all in here. Jamie, wow, Jamie's got pocket aces. 8-7 suited for Kenny. What is he gonna do here? Is he gonna get it in with Jamie? Wow, this could be it for one of these players. Oh no, Kenny decides to let it go. The 8-7 suited. Jamie showing the aces. Kenny extremely pleased with his.
Yeah. I was like, when you were thinking, I'm like, please push, please push.
Wow, Jamie picking up that pot there with the all-in with the aces. I don't know. I'm not sure what I would have done with that. I mean, Jamie is a small stack at the table. I think a shove there is fine too because you're picking up chips. So Jamie picking up a great pot with his pocket aces. Kenny making quite a large bet from the small blind, trying to go after his big blind. Jamie putting the pressure back on him, saying that's not going to happen, sir. Let's just put it in here if you want my blind so bad. I see Davis just jumped in the chat. Kenny is an outstanding player. Yes, he is. Yes. Mr. Forklift Certified. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have somebody who is forklift certified in the chat. Kenny here shoving all in with the ace-jack. Putting maximum pressure on the players. And he is going to fold. Kenny picking up the blinds. There we go. Forklift Certified says, what's the buy-in? The buy-in is we had a multi-table tournament, 14 players. It was a $40 buy-in with a $40 rebuy and $40 add-on. Not everybody uses rebuys, not everybody uses the add-on, so the prize pools tend to change quite a bit. But we're first place. We are actually in the money right now because we were paying top 3. First place is $750. Second place, $340. And third place is $150. So we are currently in the money. We just had our money bubble burst here not long ago. But welcome to the chat. King 5 suited for Jamie.
55 is the bet.
Firing out a 55K bet. Jamie's just going to win the pot right there. Blazin says he would have loved to see a rabbit hunt with the 7-8 suited versus the aces. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. Sometimes I think about it, sometimes I don't. I just try to get as many hands in as possible as blinds are going up for the players. So usually when I think about it, usually I'll do it. But where it was pre-flop, I don't do the rabbit hunt pre-flop usually. Usually they pretty much got to be on the flop because it's very easy for me to put out 2 cards instead of putting out 3. So it's a little quicker. Hand number 78. Wow, they played 78 hands so far on this final table. So Sean is going to limp in here with the ace deuce. Kenny is going to limp in, as is Jamie. He's going to check his big blind. Got a 3-way pot. The first one we've seen go to a flop here. Looks like Kenny hits his top pair. Not a great flop for anyone else, though. Kenny shoves all in. Sean here with ace deuce. He's going to fold. Glazing saying, did I see a PokerStars game being played on the TV in the background? No, it was actually, I had Daniel Negreanu. He was streaming. Of course, he's my favorite player, right? So we had him, he was live streaming on YouTube, so I had him up for most of the night. He was playing a couple tournaments and stuff on GG Poker for the WSOP that is coming up. Nightbot in the chat sharing the Amazon store. If you guys are interested in seeing what kind of live streaming equipment and stuff that we use here, and poker accessories, poker chips, and all that kind of stuff, all of that stuff is on our Amazon store. So you guys can check that out. It's an affiliate store, so we get a little kickback if you guys decide to buy something. Just kind of helps put some money towards the streaming platforms. Try to raise some money for the channel. Looks like Jamie, looks like he hits a pair of 4s here with an open-ended with the 4-2. Make that a boat. Jamie hitting the boat here, 4s over 3s. Sean here with the king high. Jamie firing a 40K bet. Sean, believe him. He does not. He does believe him. He does make the fold. Jamie showing the 4. And chips are just kind of slowly going around the table. Jamie was the shortest stack of the table. Now he's the biggest stack. 21 big blinds, 333K in his stack. Jamie with that top spot.
Button is on you, or Jamie. Sorry.
Oh, I think you were. Oh, that's right.
Glazing. Davey boy, how many bracelets do you think Helmuth will win this year at the WSOP? Believe it or not, I actually think he will win one this year. I have a feeling. He'll probably win one, and I think it will be one of the stud games. Helmuth does really well at the stud games. I don't think we'll see any kind of like Omaha bracelet from Helmuth for a while.
He does. Okay, there we go.
It's like another limp from Sean here. Blind versus blind action. Sean hitting the top pair.
Sean is first. Check.
Sean's going to play it a little bit slow. He's going to check.
Did you say check?
No,
I can't.
come on. Ah!
Sean's going to shove all in.
I'm glad I didn't get another card and hit you. Oh, that would have been bad.
Jack 9 turned river.
The king? Oh,
Still not good enough for Kenny, though.
nice hand.
Gonna need a 7 or a queen there for a straight. So you see the V-pips are getting up a little bit higher as the blinds are going up. We are three-handed. Glazin says, I think Phil Hellmuth will win at least 2. He seems focused. Negrano will win 0. Maybe. I don't know. Last year was a great year for the pros when it came to the WSOP. We've seen was it Scott Sieber? I think he won like what 3 bracelets or something, or three events. He was ended up being the player of the year as well. Daniel Negrano ended up winning one. I think Phil Ivey won one too, didn't he? I can't really remember, but it was a good year for the pros for the WSOP. It'd always be nice to win a bracelet. Win a WSOP bracelet.
Actually, I had a 10.
You had 10?
Nothing.
For me, I think I would just care about the money, not so much the bracelet.
That was my big
But the win does mean a lot. I find that people tend to glorify people for tournaments, right? You know, we see a lot of just amateur players that just win a tournament and they're just like glorified over their win, but yet in the long term they're not like a winner long term. So there's a couple pros and stuff that kind of briefly talked about that on YouTube. I can't remember where it was that I watched that, but a lot of people just kind of get the egos in them, and they when they end up winning a big event, win a bunch of money, and then they end up thinking they can play higher than what they can, and ended up losing it all. So you just got to be wary of that kind of stuff. High stakes poker hasn't been the same since Gabe Cabin left. Yeah, it's you know, I will agree with that. I think I really miss seeing all the old school pros just jumping onto a high stakes table. High stakes poker to me was like the pinnacle of poker on TV.
I think I gotta start doing that with the delay on the card flip.
Yeah, I had to pawn his WSOP bracelet because he went broke. Yeah, I never heard about that, but I mean, just goes to show, right? Proper bankroll management is very, very important, and you know, it's something that I think a lot of players struggle with, and it is very difficult to build up a bankroll, right? You need to have a high enough bankroll to account for variance. So it's just you know, most people, like, you know, myself included, right? You know, some of us just struggle with bankroll management. And I can definitely say that's definitely a leak in my game in bankroll management. So I always tend to just kind of spend the money on camera equipment and building this channel instead of building a proper poker bankroll. That's my problem. That is my problem. Big blinds have just been kind of going around here at the table. Kenny's now short stacked at the table, 13 big blinds, 210K. Sean, 17 big blinds. Canadian Brad Booth is probably the largest winning player from Canada who lost it all. I'm not gonna lie, I have absolutely no idea who that is. I don't keep up too much with the poker world. I try my best to with like poker news and stuff, but that's really my ability. We haven't seen much of Mike McDonald. He used to play a lot of European events. You know, I'd like to see him back on the poker stage. Not sure what he's been up to. He was a very very interesting player to watch. It's looking like we got a limp from Sean here on the button with the Queen 10. Kenny's going to make the call. Jamie's going to bump it up 61,000, punishing those limpers. Said, it's my big blind. You are going to have to pay the price if you want to continue. 45K more. Sean is going to make the call in position over Jamie. Kenny's just going to shove all in. Wow, what a play here from Kenny. So much money in that middle. I don't know how any of these players can fold here. They've already put in such a large thing. Could we see possibly a three-way all-in on this pot? How insane would that be to end this tournament? A three-way all-in. Jamie here, ace-9 suited. What is he going to do? He does fold. Wow, Jamie folds, putting in quite a large bet. And Sean folds as well. What a play from Kenny. 8-7 offsuit. Wow, picking up a massive, massive pot. Unbelievable. What a play from Kenny here with the 8-7. Take a look at our chip stacks. Let's move back to this. Kenny now the biggest stack, 340K. Jamie, 296K. And now Sean is shortest stack at the table. What a play from Kenny. Is on his game tonight, making a move here with the 8-7 offsuit. Pushing it in the middle, making both players fold. Unbelievable. Probably one of the biggest plays I think we've seen on this final table. Glazing in the chat says, whoa, Kenny gets it through. Crazy pot. Wow, Kenny picking up a ton of chips there, uncontested. See what Kenny wants to do now with the 9-8 offsuit after that big move with the 8-7. Kenny is going to make the call. Blinds have gone up. They are now 10,000, 20,000 with a 10,000 big blind ante. It is a very pricey game of poker. 6-6-8 comes down on the board. Kenny ends up hitting the top pair. Great flop for Kenny to continuation bet. He's going to fire it a big bet. Winning that pot. Kenny adding even more chips to his stack. We see a 7 and a queen would have came down. Turn river. Kenny. Wow. Glazes says this is Regis's time. He keeps falling just short. He needs to take this down. Kenny with that move. Unbelievable. Putting himself in a fantastic spot to try to win this tournament. Always nice to see. 20 viewers over on YouTube. Just looking at the stats now. Hey, big shout out to you guys over on YouTube. Thank you guys for joining me. I'm going to go over there right now. See what's happening. Jamie folding here. The king 8 off. Kenny is getting a walk here from Sean. Hasn't seen very many walks from Sean at all, but Kenny just picking up some of those chips. See, we only have 7 likes over on YouTube. All you guys over there on YouTube, if you guys could do me a solid, smash that like button. It really helps help push this out to more of the poker community out in the whole world. We've seen this get pushed out to a lot of people from out in like Bulgaria, I think. Is like one, which is very strange to well, it's not strange, it's just nice to see that it's just this is being pushed to a bunch of people out in the world. It's nice to see. So yeah, if you guys could hit that like button, help push it out to more content, the content out to more people, be much appreciated. Kenny gonna limp in here in the small blind. 7-4 suited. Jamie's gonna check behind with the ace-8. Fairly good flop for Kenny. Hitting a flush 7 high flush draw. 7 and a 4 is also a card that would give him a win. It's getting checked all the way down to the river. Kenny cannot hit the card he needs. Too many out syndrome yet again. He's going to take a stab at it though. 20K. Jamie is going to snap call here with the ace high. 2 pair on the board. Here we go. Jamie picking up some pots. I got the inside scoop. Kenny said if Sean can win this table, he will get an earring too. That's funny. But yeah, all you guys over on YouTube, again, if you, 20 viewers, so thank you guys for tuning in. If you guys are enjoying what you're seeing, you can hit the subscribe button. And it'll let you know every time that we go live, so you guys will not miss it. Always nice to go live and give me the ability to chat with you guys in the chat and see who's watching. So thank you guys again. But if not, thank you for joining us either way. Always nice to have the support in the viewers. Just joining and letting me know that you guys are enjoying watching what you're watching. Looks like we got ourselves a limped pot. 3-way limped pot. Jamie ends up hitting the ace. Sean with queen 4 suited of spades. 1 spade on the board. Kenny hitting the pair of 3s. Kenny trying to win the spot here. 35,000 throwing in there. Jamie is going to make the call. See what develops on the turn. Another 3. Wow. Kenny ends up hitting it. Trip 3s. Jamie with a top pair. This is going to be a really tough spot for Jamie to get away from. Jamie's going to check. Kenny firing out 40K. Jamie going to continue and going to make the call here. Ace would be disastrous for Kenny. Jamie checks. Kenny shoving all in here, putting Jamie to the test. What an incredible situation for Jamie. He is in a very, very tough spot. And he calls! This is it. Jamie gets eliminated from the tournament. Jamie said he could not put Kenny on a 3 there. Jamie becoming our 3rd place finisher, taking home $150 from this tournament. That 3 was disastrous. Disastrous for Jamie to see, becoming our elimination, third place elimination on this final table. Wow, Kenny picking up a massive pot, getting really lucky, hitting that 3 on the turn. Jamie, just, you know, again, an unlucky card for him to see. 2 pair on the board, aces and 3s with a 10 kicker. You know, you would think that it would probably be a split there if he was maybe playing another ace, but Jamie, 3-handed, just couldn't get away from it. Can't blame him. Just a very unlucky spot. But that puts Kenny definitely as the biggest stack on the table. Interested to see what is going to happen here. We have a heads-up battle. Sean versus Kenny. Kenny has an overwhelming chip lead now over Sean. Sean has a little bit of a crippling stack here. Let's just take a look and see how this next hand develops here. Blinds are still 10,000, 20,000. Hand number 89. Sean here, 133K in his stack. Has 10-2 suited. Kenny trying to organize all of his chips. Sean is just going to fold here and give it to Kenny. Kenny flips over the 8-5 suited. Definitely a nice little fun hand to have. Heads up. Take a look at our chip stacks now. Kenny, 716K in chips. Over 84% of the chips on the table. You see Sean, 6.7 big blinds, 133K. Kenny has an overwhelming chip stack. I don't even know what that would be. 6 to 1. Probably 6-1 chip lead over Sean here. Sean in rough shape in this heads-up battle, but we've seen people come back from before. Let's see what happens here in this heads-up match. Glazen says Sean should jam with the Doyle Brunson, the 10-2. Maybe 8-6 offsuit for Kenny on the button. Let's see if he's going to keep putting the pressure on Sean. No, he's just going to let him take the blinds down with that hand. Kenny's just trying to get a good grasp of what Sean has for chips. Here we go. It's like actually Sean's stack was off a little bit.
You owe, so 10, you owe 20.
It's like he has 57K behind now. So it was showing him to have a little bit less than what he actually had, which is actually not good. That is not good at all. Let's take a look now at how the adjusted stacks were. Oh, Sean only has 3 big blinds, less than 3 big blinds. Kenny, yeah, no, Kenny's in incredible shape here to try to win this tournament. Sean needs to definitely make some sort of a comeback. Wow, 3 big blinds. That's a lot worse than what I thought. The stacks were off a little bit on the tablet. Not sure what was causing that. But yeah, we're just going to have to take a look here now that it's all adjusted. Kenny here He only has, Sean only has 3 big blinds. Kenny's going to limp in for 20,000. Maybe he's just trying to entice Sean to shove here. Sean has a queen 6 off. Shoves all in here with the queen 6. I think Kenny's got a call here. And Kenny folds. What is going on? Wow, Kenny ends up folding. There's only 2 big blinds for Kenny to call. And Kenny folds. Sean practically getting a double up there. Now he's sitting at just under 4 big blinds. Now he's at 77K. Wow. That was a very strange situation. But Sean, you know, I guess that's how it's going to go. Sean just picking up a chips. That may end up being the spot here now where Sean's going to make a big comeback from this tournament. Let's move into the next hand. Heads up. 10-8 offsuit. Another great hand. Heads up. Kenny with the ace-5. Was a little disappointed. It would have ended up calling Sean there. Sean dwindling down his little 3 big blind stack yet again. Said Glazed in the chat, agreeing kind of with what I was saying. Kenny folded for 2 big blinds. What a legend. Toying with Sean. Maybe so, maybe so. Giving him false hope. Playing mind games, possibly. Never know. I'm sure the math was there to make the call, though. Kenny here with ace-8 offsuit on the button. See what Kenny wants to do here. Maybe he's going to do the same thing, limp in and entice Sean to shove. Which he does. But Sean ends up deciding to check behind with the 7-5. Kenny giving him a chance, a free chance to try to win this pot. Sean ends up hitting a pair of 7s. Shoves all in. See what Kenny decides to do here with the ace-8. He has 2 overcards to Sean. Again, Kenny giving him this pot. Sean making a comeback. Uncontested comeback, may I mention. We see that Kenny would have ended up hitting the 8 on the turn with the ace-8 and with the rabbit hunt. That would have been the end of the tournament. Now Sean is at 4.4 big blinds, 87K in his stack. Slowly dwindling away at Kenny. How unbelievable would it be to see a comeback heads up from Sean to come back and win this tournament? It could happen. It looks like it might happen if these blinds and these hands keep going the way that they're going. 9-8 offsuit for Sean here now on the button. Looks like he's debating putting it in. And he's going to fold. Kenny with the 5-2 offsuit. Sean might have actually been able to win those chips had he shoved there. Showing our VPIPs on there. The VPIPs don't matter anymore. We're heads up. It does not matter. Yeah. Let me know what you guys think. You know, Sean going to make a comeback in this final table. Are we going to see one of the greatest comebacks of all time? Actually, it's probably not the greatest. I think we've already had one where a chip in a chair guy came back and won the tournament. We got that one on stream. But Sean, this is a very rare situation indeed. In a rough shape, heads up and making a comeback. Pocket queens now for Sean in the big blind. Kenny limping in here with the 10-7. Sean shoving all in again. Is Kenny going to make the call here and double him up? No, Kenny folds. Sean ends up showing the queens. Everybody's showing their premium hands today. Sean now 5 big blinds. He has 100K. Now Kenny still with about just over a 6-1 chip lead over Sean. Heads up battle. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Glazen's been talking about how he's cheering for Kenny, and Kenny is going to end up winning the spot. He's been saying that Sean and Kenny are going to be having a big battle And here we are, Sean and Kenny battling it heads up. Sean's going to fold Kenny with the queen 10. I'm sure the money would have ended up going in there as well. This is gonna end soon, I can imagine. Unless Sean starts doubling up here. Sean, 87K. Still hovering around that 4 big blind mark. That's not very many blinds considering what the blinds and antes are. 20,000 with a 10,000 big blind ante.
Oh, no, it's right, you're right.
So it could be anything. Glazen says Regis wants a slow defeat to make Sean really feel it. Give him that glimmer of hope. Just to snatch it away. Looks like Kenny is going to limp in here on the button again here with 6-3 suited. Sean with the queen 3 suited. He's got Kenny crushed. See what happens and develops on this pot. Ace 2-2. Sean here with the queen high. Kenny grabbing some chips. All in for Kenny, putting maximum pressure on Sean. So you can see it's a bluff. A bluff heads up. The aggression, you got to be aggressive heads up.
That was a good bet.
Kenny again slowly dwindling away. I can't believe Sean 3 big blinds still alive in this tournament. I'm surprised that this heads up has lasted as long as it has, considering the overwhelming chip stack that Kenny has. But we will see what happens. Sean is going to make a comeback. We'll see. Glazen says, Kenny asked for a chip count. Playing mind games. Sean here, 10-2. The Doyle Brunson is going to let it go. See what Kenny had. Kenny had the A7 suited. Great hand. Heads up. Sean knows the money would have went in there had he shoved all in again. But now Sean, 2.4 big blinds. What is going on? Chip in a chair. Chip in a chair. Very long heads up, considering the chip stacks. Sean really battling it out. He really wants this win. Kenny now with the Doyle Brunson. Sean with A6 shoving all in. This is a chance for Kenny. This could be it. 10-2 suited. See, it's pretty much a 60-40 situation. Not very much for Kenny to call. 17 for Kenny to call here.
Yeah, I didn't look either.
And a call. He says neither of the players looked.
It doesn't matter if you do or not.
This could be it. Ace-6 versus 10-2. Is Kenny going to eliminate Sean here in this heads up? Paired board. Oh, there's the ace. Sean getting the check mark. Sean doubling up. There's the comeback. Slow comeback there. Kenny took his chance there with the 10-2. Can't blame Kenny. Kenny, I think, has to pretty much call with any 2 at that point. You know, considering the chip stacks. It's just pretty much a snap call with any 2. Kenny, I kind of mentioned, he pretty much called blind there. He had no idea what he had. I still consider that a great play considering the chips, right? The math is there for making the call. So Queen 7 for Sean. And I heard the blinds. Blinds will be going up next hand. Extra punishing to Sean here. This is going to be over soon. I can feel it. Unless Sean can make a comeback. It's like a blind, a call, and a check from Kenny. Kenny going to fire out a bet here, maybe. He's grabbing some chips. Shoving all in at maximum pressure to Sean. Sean with the pair of 7s. He does make the call. 9-3 versus Queen 7. Another chance here for Kenny. Not a great chance. Sean looks like he might double up. I've got the club draw, but he has the Queen of Clubs. Ends up hitting the 7 on the river. Sean doubling up again, making a comeback. This is it.
Plus you need your...
Folded Jack 6 suited, but calls 10-2 off. I think it was Jack 3 suited, Alex. See, Glazen says he's toying with the poor kid. He took offense to the bet, and now he is earning it. Sean wins. Kenny is nervous to lose. Kenny, so many chips over there. We're just gonna double up Sean here.
60, 64. No, 64.
Yep, it was good. It was this is blinds are going to be going up to 15,000, 30,000. Very punishing to the players. This heads up battle. Sean making a comeback, but those blinds going up is just going to be just as punishing as they were before. Glazen says, I think this is the first heads up Sean has ever played. Good experience for him moving forward. Yes, I agree. Heads up, people don't play heads up enough. People always split heads up and, you know, never play it out. Heads up is a different form of poker, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah, you need 15 extra.
Looks like Kenny is just going to limp in on the button. Sean is going to check behind.
And option. Okay.
Let's go and see a flop. Looks like we didn't see a flop. Not sure what's going on here. Maybe a little card reader error. Sean shoving all in. And Kenny calls. Here we go. Got another situation. Kenny has a pair of sevens. Sean just has 10-8 with a club draw here. This could be it. Sean, Kenny's 7 going to hold. And it does. That is it. Ladies and gentlemen, this heads up has concluded. Sean picking up a second place finish for $340. Kenny taking home the win. $750. That is it. A great heads up between these two players. Glazen saying Sean needs to be a little more aggressive. Regis needs to put on some pressure. Yes, it was a great heads up match. I'm glad all of you guys could join us in the chat. I see Nightbot with this perfect timing. You know, if you guys are interested in seeing all of this live streaming equipment and everything we use and purchase on Amazon, you can check out that Nightbot link in the store or in the chat. It is an affiliate store from Amazon. You know, we get a little kickback if you guys buy anything. So you guys can check that out. Check out all the poker accessories and stuff that we use in the poker room. I believe that is pretty much going to be it. Thank you guys, everybody, for joining us for this final table live stream. I'm going to be headed to the casino tonight. Hopefully I can pick up a seat, and we'll hope to see you guys there. Glazen says, Regis says, get her done. Regis picking up the win. Kenny, I should say, is picking up the win. $750. A great play from Kenny. Kenny Power says we need player interviews now. maybe we'll see. We'll see what happens. Maybe if we do some larger tournaments, we'll play around with some of that and do some player interviews and talk about some of the hands that were played. The problem is I have no idea what hands they played, right? So, you know, some of their folds. So. Yeah, that player interviews would be kind of fun thing to add in here. But that is going to be it for me, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys for tuning in over on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch and Kick. I am your host and commentator signing out. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm headed to the casino.